Sunday, and spawning over on the bottom left-hand side of 2K Atmospheres, as that red Terran it is, Kaiser Gaming's INnoVation.
His opponents in the top right, in the blue, playing for Team Envy, it is Maru.
Already up to no good is Maru, with 2 SVs crossing the map straight away. This kind of build is probably going to be proxy 2 racks, right? But it has definitely gone a little bit out of fashion, I would say, given that a lot of the main builds these days, they don't really revolve around the one gas expand. It's mainly like the racks, gas kind of build. But Maru still finds a way and always has done. He was really the kind of go-to guy to make it possible almost to actually recover and go back into a normal macro game.
Yeah, I was actually trying to guess, how many people would have some sort of positive record, even just in terms of map against Maru. So I looked it up, and it's not a whole lot of people. Like if you look at his nemesis on the Liga, it's like, there is like Sulky in there and stuff, and it's like only like what, -7 maps or something. And that was obviously like a very long time ago. But in terms of some of his victims, he has people that is up, plus 24 maps against. So there's definitely a couple players that he's played a lot of times and does very well against. And INnoVation, despite being up in record against Maru, it's not by a lot.
No. As you said, nobody barely is. And he is just so damn good. And he's been so damn good in every matchup too. Like, he has truly been the forerunner for Terran and coming up with the ideas and how to play the game. On INnoVation side of the map, it is the Rax Gas opening, getting up his factory. Didn't go for an SCV scout, by the way. That's a big deal because he has no idea what he's up against. If he goes for Reaper can get a little bit dicey. That is very normal. And he's checking the normal Reaper spots here, so he's not going to rush right across the map. That's good for him.
Is there a chance he gets caught completely off guard and then just like takes a lot of damage from the get-go?
We'll see what happens here, Todd. I mean, it could happen. Now he sees the Reaper. Maru getting the first shot off, and he misses the first grenade too. Maru's just going to chase this one down, and so far, this is actually not a good start for Inno.
Yeah, just going to pull back here, try and wait for the extra units. The Stallion in particular is pulling SCVs now. Maru, see those grenades. Oh, good damage done here. Yeah,
the bunker actually provides quite a bit of high ground vision, so that's great. Once the Hellion spawns, that's when it's like, okay, you might have to give this one up, but so far, I wouldn't class this as bad for Maru whatsoever.
Yeah, in terms of the worker counts, they're very close to even. INnoVation, yeah, the SCV on the low ground, it was like, okay, well, 2 racks Reaper proxy, that probably shouldn't get that on the low ground, so just get down on the high ground. And on the other side, we don't quite have a command center yet. I think it's gonna start very soon for Maru, who's getting the factory instead of his wall. He's actually gonna get it on the low ground even.
Yeah, that's the play, right? Like, he's the one that threatens the base. Oh, he's getting caught a bit off guard here. Nice grenades to slow down, but does lose a Reaper. Like, every unit really counts here. You might be like, what's losing a Reaper? But that gives INnoVation a bit of breathing room. I wouldn't be surprised if he does something very, very greedy from this point on. All things said and done, I think they've both handled this about as good as they can. It's always nice when you get rid of one of those Reapers. There's 1 Rax floating in your base, so you know it's not going to be like 7, 8 Reapers that you have to worry about. And right now, not having your barracks at home to like make reactors and stuff, INnoVation's spot, he's going to be very happy with this.
Yeah, in terms of losses, like, he really hasn't lost much at all. It was 3 SCVs in total. He was able to kill the one, he got rid of one of the Reapers. He can minimize damage here, and I think he's doing this really well. Despite Maru having vision on the high ground here, INnoVation stayed very patient, he didn't move out of position, he didn't lose patience. That's the main thing against this kind of rush. It's all about, knowing how to defend exactly and not getting overeager, going down the ramp and being like, all right, I want to push this back once and for all.
Absolutely. And Maru's actually going for a 3rd CC very quickly behind this, getting his Cyclone out, getting the tank afterwards. He managed to farm quite a bit of gas here, so he will probably start something like a Raven. It's INnoVation going for the Banshee. It will be cloakless. Very often, if you do take a little bit of damage, Banshee's a nice way to get out on the map, kind of bully your opponent a little bit, get in the SCV line and slow him down. SCV count-wise, though, it's very close between the two.
INnoVation going for a Banshee here. I was perhaps expecting a Raven a little more. It did feel for a while that this was just a pure standard. You got 2, 3 Ravens, you let them build up on energy, and then you go for this big attack where, with your tanks, you try and make a difference with good positioning and...
certainly, yeah. I mean, you're totally right. It's just this Banshee, it grants him a little bit of vision, because normally you head for one of the mineral lines, you get a little bit of damage done, it allows you to fight back a little bit. Maru hasn't been able to scout exactly what's going on, which is just down to INnoVation having a little bit of map presence here. INnoVation starting up 3 barracks before his 3rd CC as well. That's very unusual, and the 1 engineering bay, INnoVation's going to go balls to the wall early on in this game, way harder than Terrans normally do.
Yeah, against Ravens, it's always tricky if you're playing with tanks. To get any kind of good push going, that Banshee will get pushed back now. Remember, he didn't go for Cloak.
Also, INnoVation totally skipped the medevac. Like, all that gas has just been used for getting out these upgrades as fast as possible. This is a huge scan, by the way. Like, INnoVation did such a good job denying all the scouting that Maru had to scan. Now he sees this and he's like, okay. Like, Maru's gonna have to sit in his 2-base situation for quite some time and play exceptionally defensive against what INnoVation's doing, because INnoVation, he's not playing the economic game against Maru. He just wants to be in his face.
Yeah, we see the additional barracks being thrown down now for Maru, who, I guess, because like when you go for a 3rd command center like this, your economy is going to be so good that you kind of have to go for double eBay after this. Whereas on the other side, we have just a single eBay from INnoVation at the back of his natural mineral line, where he's already, that +1 is close to finishing. Wow, that was actually pretty quick.
Really damn fast. The Reaper over here will deny this 3rd base for a little bit of time, which is, you know, that's nice, because these Reapers, they don't really belong in the main fights, and those Marines finally cleared up all the Reapers on the map, I do believe. Stim already done, but that doesn't necessarily mean you can do much with it, because even if you stim without combat shields against tanks, tanks then one-shot the Marines. You need the combination of that combat shield as well.
What do you think of that tank on the high ground here? Pretty cool, huh?
Beautiful, mate, beautiful.
Yeah,
that is the all-seeing tank. Oh, but, okay, so we're looking at INnoVation moving out. I'm wondering if he's just going to play like a slow contain kind of game, because he absolutely has the capability of doing that, just denying the 3rd and taking his on the 3rd, like on the low ground. Bit of a leapfrog technique, if you will.
Maru's playing really scared, by the way. Like, he made a bunch of turrets, and 1 in the main, 1 in the expo, like in the corner where there could be a flyby. He's sending the Ravens out. They've been building up on energy this whole time. Maybe that's why I made the turrets, because it's like, okay, I'm not gonna have that at home for the defense. But what are you really hoping to achieve with this? You drop a bunch of auto turrets in the mineral line and kill a lot of SCVs?
Absolutely, yeah. That's the thing. The strat that INnoVation's gone for, not having the Ravens, these tanks are way scarier than normal. I'm kind of scared for how exposed some of those tanks are on the low ground for Maru, because we do see a lot of his upgrades aren't getting done. What got shot down over here? Was that a medevac? Oh, Banshee. Okay. So that was just the distraction Banshee from earlier. It wasn't really destined to get too much done. Maru does get a scan on and gets the, okay, there is a 3rd base going on.
He might go for the main, I guess. Like, he knows there's more SCVs there. Let's see how quickly INnoVation reacts. That could be a lot of SCVs going down here. Big investment for Maru to have flown this across the map. Already takes down 2. He only uses 2 of the turrets. Saves the rest for the expansion. 6, 7 SCVs and so much mining time lost here.
That's the big thing, right? That is so much mining time lost from both these bases, and it's so much energy. He can just bounce between the bases, deny mining for as long as he wants.
But the other one's burning.
Look at that supply as well, Todd. Like, Maru was 20 on supply behind. Now, actually caught up, overtaken, and his 1-1 has finished. He's landed himself in a great position here. Oh, he's going, what? He's picking up? Okay, that's risky. That's super risky.
He scanned the army, almost as if to say, I'm about to start to go out and break up. I mean, Maru really hasn't kept... I mean, he kept all the tanks at home. That's the thing. He picked up mostly Marines. So he actually has a big tank count around his expansion in case INnoVation scans. Oh my God. He's actually going to go for it.
He's going in for it, Todd. There are 3-4 siege tanks firing down on this huge army of INnoVation, but the losses are incredible on both sides. And back at home, INnoVation's going to have to worry about the counterattack that's going to be going on as well. But INnoVation does a really good job of clearing up most of the tanks thus far. But, you know, he's penetrating the first line, but he's got a way to go yet. Yeah,
triple medevac. He's about to fly into his expansion. He has to know, just from scanning and seeing how much army of Maru was there, he has to know that something's headed his way. He's trying to do as much damage as he can on this side of the map. Now he has to focus on the defense as well. There was a tank already sieged there. INnoVation is setting up for the defense while he's dealing critical damage on the other side of the map.
Oh, I think INnoVation's actually dealing with this defense back at home as well as you can. and he's the one dealing massive damage to the natural of Maru. Maru getting a tank, maybe picked off the high ground. Oh, no high ground vision for INnoVation. He does scan, but too little, too late. Maru is holding, and he does have his +2 on the way as well, but this is dicey. He has to run down that ramp, but the tank's actually blocking everything. The Marines do get on top of the tanks. He will be able to clean up all the tanks of INnoVation, and he breaks out of a very, very dicey situation. Great play on both sides.
And just like that, both players are now down to 3 tanks each. We still have the triple Raven of Maru alive, though, which has great potential. Actually, that ramp of Maru, a little bit clogged there for a second. There was 3 tanks blocking everything. But yeah, we got 49 SCVs for Maru, 35 for INnoVation. And finally can find a third command center, which is had for such a long time. But INnoVation tries to not allow this to happen. And I think that's going to get pushed back here by Maru.
I think so. The supplies are really damn close. Maru actually loses vision for a moment in time there, so does lose a tank. And here the tanks are trading shots, but ooh, Maru, that tank at the back. I don't think INnoVation knew about it, but does take out 2 tanks at the front. He still has the potential to just stick around here, but time is on Maru's side. INnoVation hasn't been producing SCVs. He is on 5 barracks, but those upgrades are going to start kicking in pretty soon as well here, Todd.
I think INnoVation is just all in. He never started remaking SCVs, as you said, and he never started additional upgrades. Maru's about to have +2 attack for his Marines. He already started the +2 armor. He goes into a Liberator to help out with the double siege potential and pushing back those tanks. He knows there is no Vikings to really worry about in this game as well. Maru perhaps in a fantastic position if he can hold on here for the next few minutes, but INnoVation is getting in his face.
I love the drop into the main, but this is risky without the tank support. These Marines, if they go toe-to-toe with Maru's, they are at a big deficit. There is a single Viking stopping off, even the turret from the right-hand side. This was maybe an overstay here by INnoVation, and he is sent deep into the base of Maru, maybe not where he wants to be, and Maru, back at home, knows the attack's coming. He drops well in time, pulls the boys as well. INnoVation has nothing to hold on here.
Yeah, Maru pushes this attack back yet again. INnoVation still stuck on 38 SCVs. That's it. He doesn't want to make any more SCVs. He just wants to make units and try and break Maru. He feels like he's really close to it. And he has been. There's really not that many units left over every time this gets pushed back. But no, he finally starts remaking SCVs here. I think he's realized this was not going to work. But he probably should know that, I mean, he's behind on the worker count. Not by a crazy amount, but...
Oh, but this is 2-2 Marines against 1-1 here, Todd. This is not going to be a fight that INnoVation is going to win, even though he's got quite a bit more Marines. And yeah, Maru just crushes through this army and yet again retains his tank count a little bit better. What is the unit count for INnoVation at this point? He must be scrambling. 1 tank alive versus the 3 medevacs versus 6. He hasn't got the air control, less upgrades. Now it's time for Maru to shine on the map and he's feeling confident.
Yeah, at this stage, he's defended for long enough when he needed to. He knows he has more units down on the map. He's time to pressure. Yeah, the tank count is actually very low on both sides here. It's just 3 against 2, but they're ready to brawl. Both players. In this case, Maru feeling confident. INnoVation seeing this move out, he knows that he has to defend. Oh, the Liberator's gonna make his life hell here.
The Liberator's choppy. That tank at the front as well. Maru quickly picks it off, runs back to his tank line. INnoVation, this is his last hold here. He's trying to break out, he's trying to break through, but Maru, there's just too much for him. He's melting the army of Inno, and GG, Maru takes the first map of the series.
And this Raven move, I really feel like this is what put him quite a bit ahead with the amount of SCVs he was able to kill, even like almost got one of those add-ons on one of the barracks. Maru with great decision making. He even got like perfectly ready at home. Left a lot of tanks there. Immediately after, he was like, okay, I can follow up with triple medevac drop. That was actually defended very well by INnoVation, but by that time he was already so far behind that it was like really, really hard to recover for him.
Yeah, I like how they both handled it though, because I do think the analyst S were absolutely right that Maru is looking better right now. But the fact that Inno went for, let's say, a bit of a crazy play, and the game did start off wily, right? Maru went for the 2 racks, wasn't all that bad. But you're right, these Ravens with their turrets killing like 16 SCVs, really slowing down INnoVation where he's already kind of put himself behind economically. But this was really the fight that INnoVation needed to really pound him here and crush him. But Maru did such a good job. Even these depots making a little bit of a wall so he can't run up the ramp and stuff. But I think they both played really well, and it showed 2 very different styles of Terran clashing.
INnoVation with some great timings on the scans as well, like going for the attack. Like I feel like a lesser player might not even have seen this coming and then just taking a lot of damage at home, like barely even like reacted on the other side of the map. He kind of felt like he had to go for that attack at this time, right?
Yeah, I think One thing that was also, because you don't always notice this, right? Like what both players are trying to sell to one another. Like INnoVation went for so much denial of those 4 Reapers early on, because he had like Marines at that top ramp for a long time in his base, just denying. And Maru's like, what are you up to? Like, I need to know. He got the scan down at a really opportune time. And then you saw he was really like, okay, I'm not going to utilize my third base except for SCVs and mules. I'm going to stay back. I'm going to get a drop out here. I'm going to get the Ravens out here. Overall, just very good play and good reading by both of them. Because that's one of the things, right? StarCraft 2 is a game of incomplete information and trying to figure out exactly what's going on. And they both did it super damn well.
Well, I'll tell you what, information is complete. I feel like whoever goes for triple Raven usually does pretty well here. So I'm surprised that INnoVation went for that Banshee, which really didn't do much and didn't add some of his own Ravens to the mix. Like, they're just so good.
Yeah, he skipped it. I mean, like, obviously he was going for a bit of a 2-base all-in and didn't feel like he could have the gas to spend on everything, given he went for such fast stim, combat shields, and the +1. But anyhow, getting into the second map, which will be Oxide, and spawning over on the bottom left-hand side of our blue orb. It is our blue Terran. It is Maru.
Opponents in the top right, playing as the red Terran, INnoVation.
No SCVs wandering out onto the map this time, so looks like we're going to go for a far more normal TVT on Oxide. And it is a different map. Like, this one's always been relatively comfortable for Terran. It's got all the features that you would like, the nice triangular base, the defensive third if you want to take it in fourth, rocks in the middle, the high ground, or rather the high grass. It's always kind of nice for Terran when you deal with high grass, because they always, or nearly always, have high ground vision as well with medevacs or Vikings and such, so you never have to worry about that.
Tall grass, dangerous grounds.
INnoVation,
by the way, not scouting last game. You know, like, I feel like once upon a time we were being, oh, you know, it's very dangerous. You know, there's like a couple cheese that really could put you in trouble. But the thing is, yes, he didn't scout with an SCV initially, but he checked both sides outside of his base. So if there had been a proxy, and by proxy I actually mean, you know, proximity, right? Being close to your opponent's base, he would have been able to see it. If it had been further, then maybe you wouldn't have seen it, but then is it really close enough to threaten him as much? Not necessarily.
That's the thing, because this new build that came out, or when I say new build, this really became optimal in the King of Battles tournament, where it was loads of Terrans, Todd. What a surprise, you know? But loads of Terrans came up with this barracks gas build. And as soon as you get your factory down, you take 3 guys off gas, 2 in one, 1 in the other, and get down your CC relatively quickly as well. Just a very, very safe all-round build with good tech options, good abilities to be aggressive, and most importantly, a lot of different follow-ups. For a while, it was just the Raven openings. Now we have the medevacs, the Banshees. Heck, even the Liberator makes a rare appearance now and then.
I wonder if INnoVation's takeaway from last game is like, oh, maybe I could have just defended better against the Ravens, because it did feel like it didn't take too long to pull the SCVs off the line. Like, this was always going to do tremendous damage. I guess maybe if you reacted slightly quicker and saved more SCVs, but I mean, one of those things where like they die so fast to auto turrets anyway.
Yeah, there's not much you can do in that situation, I feel. Like 3 Ravens, that's a massive commitment, right? Maybe if he knew about what was happening sooner, he could have run into the natural quite a bit sooner as well.
Yeah.
But the thing is, there was those 2 ways out of the base of Maru. Like the drops went from the right side, which INnoVation scouted, so he knew about it. Didn't get to spot those Ravens, though, I don't believe.
But there was really nothing to stop them either, right?
No.
Like, I think Maru's deduction after the scan was that there was going to be a lot of Marines and tanks. He's like, oh, no Cyclones, no Vikings. It's go time with the Ravens. So it actually makes so much sense, because like the units that need to be there to defend against the Ravens were not.
If I go hyper 200 IQ, what was Maru thinking? After you see that your opponent's 2-base all-inning you, of course he can't leave tanks at home to deal with the Raven turrets and stuff. So of course he's going to have all his army outside your base trying to soft contain you. So of course then your Ravens can absolutely get damage done, because the big counter to the Raven turret drops is having a tank in each of your bases, because it deals with them fairly fast. But ooh, a Banshee starts up again for INnoVation this game. This is unusual, and it's Maru going for the tank and medevac drop. This is a collide of 2 very different styles here.
Yeah, much like in the game 1, I guess, that they were playing very different builds. So we're gonna have Maru starting to move out here with the first Hellion, 2 Reapers as well. Catches the Hellion of INnoVation. Bit of a slow reaction here for a second, right? He could have avoided some of the shots, maybe.
Yeah, possibly. I'm mainly curious about this Banshee, actually, from Inno, because the Banshee, it feels like a hard counter to this tank that's sieging, because then you're obviously going to be able to deal damage to it. So it maybe feels like INnoVation knows that Maru's up to this kind of stuff on this map, at least, and he sees this Banshee, but INnoVation's not reacting whatsoever so far, and this is quite a bit of... this is a bad start for INnoVation, trying to hold this one off.
Yeah, the starport's just repositioning with the reactor here, but even the second demo of the ramp, that Banshee. Dangerous territory here. He could actually pick up the Marines. Sorry, no Marines. One Marine.
Yeah, the Banshee did its job though, right? Kind of thwarted off that tank, and now he's relatively safe, but Maru's exceedingly comfortable behind this. By the way, did INnoVation not make a Raven? And yet again, super supply blocked here after losing that depot. Yeah, no Raven.
Yeah, 62 out of 62 on the other side. Maru already on 63.
This is already a tight position for INnoVation to be in. He doesn't want to be in this kind of position.
Wait, is that a second starport?
From Inno?
No, from Maru.
Oh, it is from Maru, yeah. Ooh. I think, you know what I'm thinking here, Todd? Like, Maru saw that INnoVation had that very, very quick starport on the reactor, and he knows he's vying for air control very quickly. Keeping the Banshee alive as well. Let's say you have like 8 Vikings and a Banshee, and your opponent just has like 6 Vikings. You obviously win the air control, but then you have the Banshee kind of poking at the siege tank lines, and you keep edging forward. So Maru's doing kind of similar to what he did against Big Gabe, where he's just like, you know what? I'm the one going to have the air control. And
I'm the captain now.
Yeah, exactly. I'm the captain now of the skies. And it's beautiful adaptation from Maru in this series so far.
Yeah, it doesn't quite get a nut on it, but just that extra Viking, right? If you know the opponent's getting them 2x2 and you're 3x3, this is really going to start adding up very quickly after just a couple production cycles with those Vikings. We finally have the third CC here from Maru, who he just seems so comfortable with everything. You know, whether it's the defense or the offense so far, like he's just looks incredible. And it's not even like I look at INnoVation, I'm like, oh, he's making a lot of mistakes. No, like yes, he reacted a little bit slowly sometimes, but he played a pretty damn good game in game 1 with INnoVation.
Absolutely. Very weird style as well, and Maru just reacted perfectly all the time. And again, I think Maru's actually doing a really good job this game. INnoVation skipped the Raven entirely, and yet again, does he even have a third going down? It looks like he's just playing very too basey in most of his TVTs this tournament. Oh, that is ballsy from Maru. I can't believe he's actually going for this, but he does have air control with superior count of Vikings here. Does get a nice siege up as well. That Banshee has got 1 hit remaining, does finally go down, and Maru takes a pretty decisive fight here. He's going to land on these tanks as well.
Picks up again, unseating. INnoVation trying to trade as much as he can against this here. Nice pickups there by Maru. Just on the chase, does not want to let this tank get away. Might be able to get it here. Vikings show up on the other side. They're going to be able to get rid of the Vikings, but Vikings on the other side take off and will get rid of them. He's the captain and is in charge.
I mean, it worked out beautifully for Maru, right? Everything that he thought was going to happen did happen. INnoVation, he's struggling now. He's down to 1 tank. The Vikings flying as well. I think this is the beginning of the end here. That 1 Marine is trying to stand strong, helping the Viking out, but Maru's just moving on in. The SCVs are pulled. The Vikings do land. This is going to be a lot of economic damage. And even if he does clean it up, this is irrecoverable.
INnoVation getting caught out on the map. He's going to have to tap out this time. Much earlier than in game 1, and Maru is just running the show from start to finish here in that game 2.
Game 1 definitely had its moments of being close. Game 2, none whatsoever. I think Maru is reading that situation and just realizing, like, hey, I don't see a third CC here. I'm getting a good scout off of your base with this bit of aggression. I'm seeing this Banshee. I'm seeing the very quick starport reactor. I think it was all very, very well handled by Maru, and so far he's just showing that he has this formula in his head of how to manage this matchup and what to do when he sees everything.
Yeah.
And you've seen how good his scouting is. Like, the first game he's trying to get all the Reapers in, then finally scan, because he's like, you're up to something. This game, again, he knew that he was kind of up to something. And even though we went into this fight a little bit later, like with the siege up, he still ended up knowing that he's definitely going to take it.
Yeah, he had the interference matrix as well. And again, by the way, the player that made the Raven won. Just saying, I might be into something here.
Do you think INnoVation needs to start doing that then, Todd?
I think so, but I don't know that. I feel like he wants, though. I mean, maybe it might have been specific to the map, what you just mentioned here with the Banshee trying to defend on the high ground with the depot, but I hope he starts on making Ravens. They're amazing, man.
Absolutely, and guys and girls, we'll see if INnoVation can bounce back into the series right after this break.
Welcome back, everyone. You're watching DreamHack StarCraft 2 Masters Summer, the season finals. And it kind of feels like it's Maru's world and we're living in it at this point.
Absolutely, man. Like this guy so far, I know he's had a little test here and there, but none really. I mean, the Zest game, to be fair, on Romanticide was really, really cool. And I mean, he handled every situation perfectly, but that's kind of been the moral of his story. He's just handling every situation perfectly.
Yeah.
And I feel it's not like he's just purely out microing or multitasking people, or he's just playing StarCraft like you should, like reading, reacting, and then doing it all perfectly like you kind of want to. But anyhow, getting into Romanticide here, playing in the top left as our Red Terran, it is INnoVation.
His opponent in the blue from Team Envy is Maru. I was surprised about his answer to the question of how he got his nickname. I think he was the one that said like it means like to the top or something in a foreign language.
Yeah, it was like in a foreign language, it means like the top, so he's like, this seemed nice, but I was also surprised that everything about Maru was just, oh yeah, somebody else thought it, and I thought it was kind of cool too. I was just like, do you not have any of your own ideas? But the thing is, his personality, yeah, you know, a lot of it's translated, but his gameplay, I think this is really where he can speak his true inner.
Yeah.
Because, like, the way that he plays, nobody else does it. Here, to start things off, he's got his own barracks going up where it should be, but then he's got another barracks on the map. So this isn't quite a fully committed 2-Rax Reaper, but this can definitely get damage done. In INnoVation, he isn't scouting, and yet again, and also, he's going for the one build that you have to scout with, I feel. He's going for the 1-Rax fast expansion. This could be a really short game for INnoVation, sadly.
If this was a combat sport, Maru would be the guy that never says anything interesting in interviews, but then just knocks everybody out. So he lets his fighting do the speaking for him. By now, he has for sure picked up on the fact, like this is map 3, that INnoVation just hasn't been SCV scouting at all, and instead goes for Reaper and then, you know, scouts around his base. So perhaps he's just like, all right, let's put him out of his misery. You know, I'll go for this one proxy and then end things, and I can already start thinking about facing a Zerg later on with Rogue and Raynor and being in the other semi.
This particular build, though, Todd, this is one that if it isn't scouted, the fact that it's already not scouted, I'm already exceptionally worried for INnoVation. Luckily, he is making a Marine second and not something real crazy like a...
Reactor?
Yeah, a Reactor that would have really spelled doom for him. But this, depending on how these first shots go for Maru, which it looks like it's going to go in Maru's favor here, immediately on the Reaper, and that's a Reaper dead. I feel this is over already.
Oh my.
I really do.
SCV gonna get sniped. He's gonna go for the SCV that's building the command center to make sure it doesn't quite complete here. Bunker going down for Maru as well on the low ground. On the other side, he's getting his own command center immediately behind. Already has the second gas, so he can go into a factory immediately. Does that CC just die, no matter what here?
I mean, he can't get out of this. Like, I'm actually genuinely surprised that Maru hasn't pounced on this opportunity and gone to the main. Now he's gone to the main. He's like, okay, where's your stuff? Oh, mate, you were doing, like, the greediest build possible, pretty much, and you've got nothing?
Oh, canceled the command center on the low ground. I think he knew that was never going to be saved anyway, so he gets the minerals back for that. Yeah, he gets it back on the high ground immediately. But he's going to lose so many SCVs. INnoVation, this might be one of the quickest semifinals TVTs we've ever seen with INnoVation featured in it. If this keeps going this way, Maru is crushing it.
Oh, I mean, this is hard for Inno, you know. This is why you take a risk like this. It's a risk, man. The fact that he didn't scout, and he did this against all people, Maru. Like, the first game, Maru proxied him. The second game, he went for the medevac push kind of thing. He's been aggressive right from the get-go. And INnoVation, he's been madly punished by his greed here. And yeah, the worker count speaks for itself, 26 to 18. And there's an expo already up back at home from Maru.
I just pictured, you know, the Star Wars meme. It's like, Maru, we know you're capable of proxying, and then INnoVation is like, yeah, but only in the first map, right? Only in the first map, right?
right. Sweat drips. Nah, yeah, this is such a horrible position. INnoVation, you might be like, isn't this super risky? The thing is, he has to do something really risky from this point in time, because he's dead if he doesn't. It's almost damned if you do, damned if you don't. The fact that Maru isn't... Oh! That's actually a decent start for him. We'll lose the Widow Mine as a result, but I feel that INnoVation's actually kind of getting away with this move, so that's why some players have to do these kind of things.
Yeah. I mean, on the other side, we have the starboard now finishing. And the Raven, what do you know, will be started immediately. Maru's taking damage. INnoVation is finding some good damage on the other side, killing already 6 SCVs. Can he get more? The Hellion finally goes down. The Marines on their own. What can they do? Nice repair here on the Cyclone.
Really nice micro by both of them, actually, trying to avoid the lock-ons here, avoiding the kills here on the Marines as well. And this Cyclone, it will eventually get the job done, especially with the tank backup, but holy crap, that's the kind of damage that INnoVation was looking for. And I don't want to say that he's more than back into it, but that is absolutely the start of something.
He's almost brought this back to even. I would say it's still behind, but if that didn't happen, he'd be in a terrible spot right now. But he's found one of the only things that he could do damage with, I guess, at this stage.
Absolutely, absolutely. Maru, or rather both players, starting up a third base very quickly in this game. You can tell that Maru's main base is wounded, given that it's down to 8 SCVs.
He's moving out. He has no units at home. He's in the center of the map right now with the Raven, the tank, and a few Marines. I was like, he's getting a third CC and moving out at the same time. That seems a little greedy. And now because of this, he's going to lose more SCVs, but finally that gets perfectly defended, and now Maru's going to be focusing on the offense here.
Oh, Maru does see this army. Drops the turret very prematurely, though. Only gets like 2 hits off, and then it has to go back home. I think Maru was expecting far less units here, and was kind of expecting INnoVation to fight back immediately, but didn't go for that. INnoVation does get up all 4 gases immediately as well. Maybe going into a mech game from here, who knows?
Yeah, the third command center is slightly earlier here for Maru, but at least INnoVation already went for it on the high ground instead of his main base. He's already got double gas on the expansion. Would this be the map to go for mech on?
If you go for mech on any map, yeah, this would be the one. It's just very defensive. It's very hard to bust, and you kind of can always survive, which you can't really rely on when you go mech.
Which we always expect of. Please, Maru.
Please survive. Luckily, Leonok wasn't at this tournament for that to happen, Todd. But we do have the attempted Raven harass from Maru, but it's shut down a little bit by INnoVation here, has Cyclones in nice positions. Double engineering base starts from Maru, and second factory starting up for INnoVation. So we are going to have the clash of 2 very, very different styles.
And we talked about this before the series even began. You know, Maru is one of the guys that if you're going to play with this type of style here with mech and being a little bit more immobile, because usually when there's mech in TVT, it's not battle mech, right? It's mech with a lot of tanks, so it's a little bit more turtly.
It varies. Sometimes people will discover this new Cyclone Hellion mix and they'll be like, oh yeah, this is the way. Like, you know, you forgo upgrades and stuff. Like on Eternal Empire or Eternal Palace, as Rotterdam calls it. That was the time that we saw a lot of Cyclone Hellion. But at the moment, we do see a lot of very regular standard mech. Maybe later on, you'll get that little group to run around the map with the Cyclones and Hellions. But yeah, to start things off, just making sure that you're solid, you're safe, getting the air control, getting the tank set up. You get very hard to break. Maru needs to find out what he's up against relatively quickly, because INnoVation, to say he started off this game about as bad as you could, he's absolutely clawed his way back into it, and he's made a few very, very greedy jumps to get back into it too.
He's already going for double upgrade at least, and keep that up very, very soon. Yeah, double armory. Whoa. INnoVation just wants to upgrade like a madman, so this might be a very turtly game from there. I mean, every time that I say that, you know, like it's TVT. I've never really played Terran myself. Sometimes they just move out with like 1 tank, like 6 Marines and 1 Raven. I'm like, what is he doing? That just happened actually in this game from Maru earlier. But it does feel like here with going double armory, INnoVation is kind of supposed to take things slow for a little bit, because if he moves out now and then he gets caught in the center of the map, or he gets counter-dropped immediately by a couple of medivacs and Marines, it would be big trouble instantly. So you have to take things slower here for a little bit longer.
I gotta say, I've loved how INnoVation's sorted out his economy. Like, he took this third base as soon as you could, took the 5 and 6 gases as well as soon as he could. Then he was relying on 2 factory tech lab production, getting the air out as well. So as much gas as he could get, as quick as he could get as well. So really delving into the fact that mech is very, very gas costly, I suppose. And
Yeah.
that's why he's able to get the double upgrades as quick as he can too. Like, he's just managed himself very well into this game. I'm still not entirely sure if Maru knows what he's up against, though.
He scans now and sees a lot of Vikings and the one tank. Yeah, he should be able to tell just from seeing this.
I think from just seeing that engineering bay go up there, it's like, wait, you've only just made an engineering bay? This definitely isn't bio.
And it's not even upgrading either.
Absolutely. Second starport does start up for Maru. More barracks as well. And even getting the air upgrades initially to start things off, that's the big indicator there. The only reason that you get tank upgrades, or at least the big reason tank upgrades are popular, as soon as you hit +2, that's then 48 damage. They'll one-shot stim Marines with combat shields no matter the upgrade. It's a really big deal.
Yeah, so Maru is still going for the additional starport to try and combat this air effectiveness, like the air control. He wants to be the captain yet again with a lot of Vikings. Actually, 2 more starports, that is.
Air control is the name of the game here, Todd. Like, massively so. And when you are against a mech player, obviously there's things that you can worry about, like Hellbat drops and stuff, but they tend to be way less likely these days than they used to be. I wouldn't be surprised if he kind of tries to be aggressive on INnoVation's side of the map, because it is kind of hard to bust out of the 3-base situation, especially when your opponent's got kind of the same comp as you, the Vikings. He's got his own tanks, even though they're far fewer in numbers. Mech doesn't do well at gaining ground against an army that's already stood right in front of it.
Is there any standard timings that you want to go for here if you're Maru, or you just have to adapt to every situation? Like for example, when you max out, you have to start doing some doom drops to try and bring the opponent out of position and trying to deal some economic damage, or there's no such thing? It's really about whether the opponent's attacking or turtling.
I think you have to adapt, learn and adapt. There's so many different ways of playing mech. INnoVation's doing the true, I'm going to turtle as hard as possible while playing as greedy as possible. And there's multiple ways to do this. Like, as soon as he hits 2-2, that is potentially a timing, and then you either win by air control, which I think that's the way that Maru's going about it, but he's also playing the very greedy game of just kind of absorbing the map behind it all.
Viking count is actually even right now, 14 to 14. So upgrades also going to come into play. We got ship weapons about to complete for Maru, because INnoVation's focusing on the upgrades on his actual mech and on his air. He's not going to have any for a while.
I would not be surprised if INnoVation starts throwing, I was about to say, a few Thors pretty soon, because, yeah, he knows that he has so much anti-ground right now, doesn't really need to worry too much anymore. Like, those are going to be tanks with really sick upgrades. He's got the Hellbats for the nice meat shield wall. And, again, I think Maru, we're going to start seeing even more starports go down pretty soon, because he's really vying for the air control. And if your Vikings are finding Vikings, it allows the Liberators to get all those beautiful siege ups as well. And 3 more factories on the way for INnoVation. He is totally the mech god in this game.
Almost feels like INnoVation is trying to make things a little awkward for Maru here, and just playing mech against bio, making it like a longer game. But we've seen Maru how incredible he is in the late game, when you have to max out, when you have 12 orbital commands scanning all over the place and controlling the big army, which I feel for a long time was the weakness of a lot of Karens, because obviously it's like super hard compared to Protoss for UA move and Storm.
Okay, so INnoVation, he's doing that 2-2 move out that we talked about, Todd, but that's a lot of air units, and the Thors aren't here yet. Like, he's moved out before the Thors even came, and these Liberators kind of go into contested. The Thors are joining the fight now, but Maru's survived the push so far. That's actually a huge deal for Maru.
Yeah, Viking counts was lowered on both sides, but we still got 11 for INnoVations. Oh my god, that's 17 for Maru. So he definitely got the better end of the Viking trades here. And he kind of, INnoVation just like runs home with his tail between his legs. Like, all right, I'll leave you alone.
I'll leave you alone. You've got a better army than me. Please don't come across the map, big sir. Maru behind this, by the way, he's on an extra base than his opponent. The tank count also is very similar between the two, despite it being mech. Yeah, we've got 8 versus 10 here. The Liberators, it's a low number right now. He knows he needs to respect these Thors, so he will be adding up, but this is so difficult to deal with now if you are INnoVation.
Yeah, despite Maru playing, bio and tanks, and in his case even with air, his Marine and Marauder count is actually very low. He's only got 9 Marauders and 5 Marines.
Yeah, when you ask me, like, how do you deal with this? There's multiple ways, but Maru's gone for the absolute air domination option, which, so far, It's working out really well, and Maru's creeping forward. He still has a lot of siege tanks available, getting really good upgrades. Multiple more starports. INnoVation, he's kind of had enough of this fight. He's marching in. The Thors are interference matrix. The tanks are shooting the Thors as well. The Vikings, I don't know who's winning in the sky. It looks like Maru is taking a pretty significant lead there. The Liberators also, they join in on the fun in these skies. But INnoVation, his army is battered and bruised.
Yeah, the Viking count's massively depleted on both sides. We got 6 for INnoVation, 4 for Maru, so he lost the big advantage that he had on this Viking count. He's got more tanks now somehow, though. 9 tanks against 3. Maru, I think the big move, like you mentioned it, you know, the air. He went for 3 starports so early with triple reactors. So he was pumping out Vikings 6 by 6 for a while. And he got a really good advantage on the air control thanks to this. He was also the one working with more upgrades, like he had the +1 for the longest time. It only now is starting for INnoVation, that +1 air weapons.
And this little ragtag group of bio moving out to the top of the map, I wouldn't be surprised if that's just kind of a distraction play almost at this point, because it feels like Maru's almost switched entirely to the almost mechy composition here with air control. He's also been absorbing the map like a madman.
6 starports for Maru.
I mean, look at that Liberator fleet, Todd. How many Liberators are there, actually? I think he can just envelop that army. 11 libs.
Yeah.
Woo. And he's going for it. The Thors, they're going to try and fight against the Liberators, but they've got tank support behind them. Those Thors just melted off the face of the map here. And now Maru moves forward with his tank count. It's a large number of units. I mean, INnoVation's fighting back for sure, but I don't think he has even remotely enough here. Both of them suffer massive losses, but it's Maru with a mass amount of tanks still left.
Yeah, INnoVation got erased here in this fight. He lost basically his entire army here. He's just got a very few units left, staying in that position. And Maru is almost parading back home here, celebrating his victory, because I think he knows he's quite a bit ahead at this point. It's going to be so hard for INnoVation to come back. Like, the only thing you can do is turtle.
Yeah.
And then that means that Maru can just take the whole map super quickly and just keep on expanding his lead.
I've seen one thing this whole game, by the way. INnoVation was on like 66 workers for the entire game. So he really lined everything up for that 2-2 push. And I think once it failed, he's kind of like, damn, like what do I do now kind of thing? Because look at the map. Like, even though INnoVation's taken his 5th base and, you know, he's not dead yet, Maru's just, he's not slowed down at all. He's got multiple CCs making. I see 2 orbitals at once. We have 3-2 air upgrades coming in as well. And you come over to this base, it's like, oh, you've already got PF here? Well, that's pretty quick. And he's taking the other side of the map too. Maru's just doing what he's been doing. He just, once he feels a little bit of comfort from the amount of aggression he's been throwing out, he just absorbs the map.
INnoVation cannot counter the 6 starports of his opponent. That's the thing. And remember, he's still behind on the upgrades for those air weapons. So he's behind on the Viking count, so air control is Maru's, and he also complements that by getting Liberators. So his sieging potential is superior, despite at times having been behind on the tank counts.
Yeah, and you asked about the Cyclone mech, the battle mech kind of thing. We do see that INnoVation is resorting to that, and I think that's mainly because the Thors obviously did not work against this number of libs. Maru taking a bit of a crazy fight here. The Liberators will make all these tanks and siege, but he did lose all his bio running in maybe a little bit prematurely there. But INnoVation, it's so hard to deal with this, Todd. Like, great, the Cyclones are very active and very mobile, but every time that he tries to pick off one of these libs, or maybe 2, he's using like 3 or 4 Vikings each time.
Yeah, look at the supply, the Muslim. Maru getting further and further ahead here. 16 Vikings against 7 right now. And that means that those 6 Liberators, they can do whatever they want. They can just leapfrog forward slowly with the help of the tanks for the double siege. Marauders just waiting for their times to steam in. When it's finally going to be there, INnoVation, he just keeps on getting pushed back, but he's going to be pushed back into a corner very soon, and he might have to take a fight he really does not want to take.
No, the Cyclones, they're great if they can catch this army on siege, but if they don't, they're going to get absolutely melted and obliterated. INnoVation coming in from the top as well with the Cyclone squad, but Maru's just brute forcing his way forward right now, and he's doing it with such finesse as well at the same time. But now, the Cyclones, this PF, massively under threat. Maru, he is not slowing down either. Behind all this, he's taking an extra base. The Liberators on the left side doing a good job. The bio coming in on the right as well. GG, Maru takes it so convincingly 3-0.